The tribunal hall of Marylinth smells of lacquered wood and bureaucratic indifference. Governor Tudin receives her seated, robed in Han silk, a man who mistakes stillness for submission. Trưng Trắc stands before him. Daughter of a Loch Lord, wife of a warrior clan, heir to a people who plowed these river deltas long before the Han learned their names. She has brought evidence. Hollow-eyed farmers, depleted storehouses, grain requisitions that leave children to starve through the monsoon season. He waves her words away like smoke. Around her, bronze censers exhale their coils into humid air. Her jaw tightens. Her hands, folded before her, do not tremble. She is not yet the commander of 65 armies, not yet a queen. But something is being decided behind those composed, burning eyes that no governor's dismissal can now undo. The Red River runs the color of rust that morning. On its bank, beneath the watching eyes of Han soldiers, the Saxe nobleman, husband, the living proof that defiance has a price, is made an example. Tudin's message is carved not in stone but in blood. Trưng Trắc does not look away. She stands in the river shallows, her younger sister's arms encircling her from behind, and she watches every moment with the still, terrible focus of a woman committing something to memory forever. The water pulls at their ankles. The incense smoke drifts south. Grief, in this delta, does not weep quietly. It gathers like the summer rains, slow, and then all at once, unstoppable. Something closes inside Trưng Trắc in that moment. Something else, harder and older, opens. 65 lords are about to receive a summons they cannot refuse. In the shadow of ancient banyans, torchlight catches the faces of 65 Loch lords, warriors, chieftains, men who have swallowed humiliation like river stones for years. Trưng Trắc stands before them on raised earth, her mourning robes exchanged now for the armor of command. She does not plead. She invokes. She calls upon the memory of Loch Viet queens who once rode war elephants across these very deltas, who needed no foreign master's permission to rule their own soil. The words move through the assembly like wind through tall grass. One hand rises, gripping a bronze blade toward the smoke-threaded sky. Then another. Then dozens. A forest of raised weapons gleaming in the firelight, a thunderclap of voices swearing allegiance to the Sisters of Marylinth. The revolution does not merely begin here. It erupts. And 65 lords are about to become an army. From the misted highlands of Marylinth, something the ancient world has never seen begins to move. War elephants, their flanks painted with the crimson sigils of the Loch lords, shake the jungle floor with every thunderous step. At the vanguard rides Trưng Nhi, her armor lacquered black and gold, a banner of woven silk snapping in the river wind above her head. Around her, women commanders issue orders across the drumline, their voices cutting through the dense, resinous air of burning torchwood and churned red earth. 65 lords have answered the call. Tens of thousands of fighters stretch back through the valley like a serpent without end. No Han general has prepared for this. No imperial scroll has anticipated this army, this fury, this particular fire. And the fortresses to the south are about to learn why. The walls of Louis Lao tremble. War drums thundering across the Red River plain, as thousands of Loch Viet fighters surge through smoke and river mist, their bronze-tipped spears catching the first pale light of dawn. Tudin, the man who murdered, who humiliated, who believed cruelty was governance, flees southward like a rat abandoning a burning granary, his imperial seals abandoned in the dust. 65 strongholds fall in succession, each conquest answered by the roar of liberated voices echoing through jungle and delta alike. The sisters ride at the vanguard, their banners snapping against a sky heavy with wood smoke and possibility. A nation, long silenced, speaks its own name again. But in the imperial courts of Luoyang, the emperor hears the name Trưng and begins sharpening something far larger than vengeance. At the citadel of Meilin, beneath banners dyed the red of river clay and sacred blood, 2 women are crowned before a nation that has learned to breathe again. Incense smoke rises through lacquered pillars. Drums beat the ancient rhythms of the Lamak lords. Trưng Trắc ascends first. Composed, severe, her grief transmuted into something harder and more permanent than sorrow. Beside her, Trưng Nhị stands like drawn bronze. Together they abolish the suffocating tribute taxes that Han governors have pressed like stones against the chest of every village, every family, every child born into occupation. For a single, luminous moment, 65 territories exhale as one. The Red River runs unimpeded to the sea. But to the north, beyond the mountain passes, an empire does not forget what it considers its own. From the north, empire answers. Emperor Guangwu dispatches his most decorated commander, General Mã Viện, the wave-taming marshal, a man who has broken nations as lesser men break horses. 20,000 hardened legionaries march south through Guangxi, their iron-shod sandals grinding the red earth into dust. Supply ships crowd the coastal waterways, bearing siege engines, crossbow battalions, and enough provisions to outlast any jungle queen. The army moves with the cold patience of a machine that has never known defeat. No war drums announce them, only the rhythmic percussion of disciplined boots, the clank of laminated armor, the low creak of war carts loaded with timber and chain. The mist parts before them. The jungle watches. In Meilin, the sisters know what sound is coming, and they begin to prepare for the last, defining fire of their reign. At Langbak, the mist has barely lifted when the killing begins. Mã Vient's crossbowmen advance in disciplined, merciless formations. 10,000 iron bolts darkening the morning sky like a murmuration of starlings turned to death. The Lac Viet warriors, brave beyond measure, charge across the shallows with bronze drums thundering at their backs, the old rhythms of their ancestors rising from the reed-choked banks. But courage alone cannot answer iron discipline. Bodies sink into the red-stained water. The drums falter. The sisters fight on, conspicuous, defiant, refusing the luxury of retreat. Their presence alone holding the line long after hope has abandoned it. When at last the Lac Viet forces break and scatter into the highland jungle, something ancient and irreplaceable breaks with them. And Mã Viện, tasting blood, turns his legions north toward Meilin. The Hatjiang moves slowly here, dark as iron beneath a pewter sky. Spring rains have swollen its banks, and the jungle presses close, ancient, indifferent, eternal. Trắc and Nhị stand at the water's edge, their silk robes heavy with mist, the distant sound of Han war drums carried on the wind like a slow and patient verdict. There is no hesitation between them. Only the touch of clasped hands, a breath held in perfect unison, the shared grammar of sisters who have never once spoken different truths. They have ruled. They have burned. They have refused to kneel. The river receives them as the jungle swallows the sound, completely and without argument. But what Han bronze cannot conquer, memory will. And memory, in this land of ancient rivers, has always known how to rise. They are not forgotten. Across 2,000 years, incense smoke rises from 1,000 shrines, curling upward through banyan leaves, toward a sky the sisters once claimed as their own. Fishermen on the Red River whisper their names before casting nets. Mothers teach daughters to stand unbowed. Every spring the festivals return. Drums, silk banners, the bright crash of cymbals echoing across water, and Trưng Trắc and Trưng Nhị ride again in painted effigy, war elephants beneath them, spears held high against a heaven that never truly surrendered them to silence. History may record their defeat, but history is written by those who fear being forgotten. The river remembers differently. At dawn, its current moves as it has always moved, patient, relentless, carrying everything forward. They could not hold the land, but they held the memory of a people.